In the vast galaxy of the United Federation, a diverse alliance of interstellar species, Earth had long been classified as a death world, a term reserved for planets with hazardous environments and dangerous life forms. Despite its menacing reputation, Earth was also the subject of great curiosity. This fascination brought together a group of alien students from various planets, including Zelaria, Morania, and Trizonia, who enrolled in an intergalactic exchange program to study Earth. The students, Vixla, a Xylarian with bioluminescent skin, Zeph, a Moranian with the ability to shapeshift, and Zorak, a Trizonian with advanced technological implants, arrived on Earth brimming with excitement. Their human guide, Dr. Jane Thompson, welcomed them warmly at the landing site, a sleek spaceport nestled in the heart of an untamed jungle. As their craft descended, the students peered through the viewing ports at the dense canopy below, the verdant green stretching to the horizon, punctuated only by the glinting serpentine ribbon of a river. The spaceship touched down smoothly on a metallic platform. The hatch opened with a hiss, revealing the thick, humid air of the jungle. The students exited cautiously, their senses overwhelmed by the cacophony of chirps, roars, and rustles emanating from the dense undergrowth. Dr. Thompson, clad in khaki field attire, greeted them with a welcoming smile. Her eyes sparkled with a mix of excitement and a hint of caution. "Welcome to Earth," she said, her voice authoritative yet warm. "I hope you're ready for an adventure, but remember, this planet has earned its reputation for a reason." The students exchanged uncertain glances, but followed their guide down a metal staircase that led into the wild. As they descended, the vibrant ecosystem around them seemed to close in, the humidity wrapping them like a wet blanket. Vixla's luminescent skin shimmered, her eyes wide with both fear and awe. "I've read about this place," she murmured, her voice echoing the sentiments of her companions. The group set off on a trail that wound through the jungle, their senses heightened. The vibrant flora and fauna fascinated the students, who marveled at the sheer diversity of life. Brightly colored birds flitted overhead, and exotic plants bloomed in a rainbow of colors. However, their awe quickly turned to alarm as they encountered the first of Earth's challenges: venomous creatures and unpredictable weather. Vixla's luminescent skin, which emitted a soft, glowing light, attracted swarms of aggressive insects. She waved her hands frantically, trying to shoo them away, but they only seemed more attracted to her glowing presence. Zeph, eager to help, shapeshifted into a large insect-eating bird, snapping up the bugs that buzzed around Vixla's head. The effort, however, drained him quickly in the jungle's relentless heat. He reverted to his humanoid form, panting heavily as he wiped sweat from his brow. Zorak, with his technological implants, was able to detect an approaching storm but underestimated its ferocity. The sky darkened rapidly, and the once lush jungle transformed into a scene of chaos as powerful winds and torrential rain lashed at the group. The winds howled, and the rain fell in sheets, obscuring their vision and making the trail treacherous. The group stumbled forward, their feet slipping on the muddy ground, until Dr. Thompson spotted a nearby cave. "Quickly inside!" she shouted, her voice barely audible over the storm. The students rushed into the cave, their hearts pounding with a mix of fear and adrenaline. The interior of the cave was dark and cool, a stark contrast to the humid jungle outside. They huddled together, their bodies shivering from the cold and their nerves frayed from the unexpected storm. "Is this normal?" Vixla asked, her glowing skin flickering with anxiety. Dr. Thompson nodded. "For a death world, yes." Her voice was calm, but her eyes betrayed a flicker of concern. The storm raged outside, the wind howling through the cave's entrance. The students sat in silence, the reality of Earth's dangers sinking in. After what felt like an eternity, the storm subsided, and the group emerged from the cave, their clothes damp and their spirits shaken. The jungle around them was transformed. Trees were toppled, and the once clear trail was now a muddy mess. Dr. Thompson surveyed the scene, her expression one of grim determination. "We should move on," she said, her voice firm. The group set off, their steps cautious as they navigated the new terrain. The storm had altered the landscape, and the group found themselves forging a new path through the jungle. As they trudged through the thick underbrush, They encountered a series of challenges. They crossed a narrow river teeming with piranhas, their sharp teeth glinting in the sunlight. They climbed over fallen logs, their footing precarious on the slick, wet surface. They encountered a group of venomous snakes, their bodies coiled and ready to strike. Each challenge tested the students' resolve, but they pressed on, their determination fueled by a mix of fear and curiosity. After hours of trekking, the group finally emerged from the jungle into a clearing. Before them stood a small research station, its metal exterior gleaming in the sunlight. The students sighed in relief, their bodies aching from the journey. Dr. Thompson smiled, her expression one of pride and relief. "Welcome to our base camp," she said, her voice tinged with a hint of exhaustion. The students entered the station, their bodies grateful for the cool, air-conditioned interior. They collapsed onto the nearest chairs, their faces etched with a mix of exhaustion and exhilaration. Despite the dangers they had faced, they couldn't help but feel a sense of accomplishment. They had survived their first day on Earth, and they knew they were in for an unforgettable adventure. The students had barely settled into the research station before Dr. Thompson gathered them for a briefing. The compact interior of the station was a hub of activity, with scientists and researchers bustling about, analyzing data from various expeditions. The students sat at a large oval table, their attention focused on Dr. Thompson as she began outlining their next task. "Our objective today is to study the unique biodiversity of the Amazon rainforest," Dr. Thompson began, gesturing to a holographic map of the surrounding jungle. The map highlighted areas of interest, including known habitats of dangerous creatures. "We'll be documenting several species and observing their behaviors. But remember, this environment is unpredictable. Stay close and be vigilant." The students nodded, their earlier trepidation replaced with eager anticipation. Equipped with specialized gear, they set out into the jungle, their senses heightened after the previous day's ordeal. The thick canopy above them filtered the sunlight into a dim, greenish hue, creating a serene but deceptive atmosphere. The group followed a narrow trail, the path winding through dense foliage and overgrown roots. As they ventured deeper, the vibrant ecosystem around them seemed to close in. The air was thick with humidity, and the sounds of chirping insects and distant animal calls filled the air. The students marveled at the exotic plants and animals, their excitement growing with each new discovery. However, their fascination was short-lived, as they soon encountered the first of Earth's challenges. Vixla's luminescent skin, which emitted a soft, glowing light, attracted swarms of aggressive insects. She waved her hands frantically, trying to shoo them away, but they only seemed more attracted to her glowing presence. Zeph, eager to help, shapeshifted into a large insect-eating bird, snapping up the bugs that buzzed around Vixla's head. The effort, however, drained him quickly in the jungle's relentless heat. He reverted to his humanoid form, panting heavily as he wiped sweat from his brow. "These insects are relentless!" Vixla exclaimed, her voice tinged with frustration. She slapped at her arms, her glowing skin now covered in small red welts. Dr. Thompson, observing the situation, handed Vixla a small vial of repellent. "Use this," she advised. "Earth's insects are notoriously persistent." Vixla applied the repellent, her expression one of relief as the insects quickly dispersed. The group continued on, but their challenges were far from over. The sky darkened rapidly, and the once lush jungle transformed into a scene of chaos as a powerful storm approached. The winds howled, and the rain fell in sheets, obscuring their vision and making the trail treacherous. Zorak, with his technological implants, was able to detect the approaching storm, but he underestimated its ferocity. The group stumbled forward, their feet slipping on the muddy ground, until Dr. Thompson spotted a nearby cave. "Quickly, inside!" she shouted, her voice barely audible over the storm. The students rushed into the cave, their hearts pounding with a mix of fear and adrenaline. The interior of the cave was dark and cool, a stark contrast to the humid jungle outside. The storm raged outside, the wind howling through the cave's entrance. The students sat in silence, the reality of Earth's dangers sinking in. After what felt like an eternity, the storm subsided, and the group emerged from the cave, their clothes damp and their spirits shaken. The jungle around them was transformed, trees were toppled, and the once clear trail was now a muddy mess. Dr. Thompson surveyed the scene, her expression one of grim determination. "We should move on," she said, her voice firm. The group set off, their steps cautious as they navigated the new terrain. As they trudged through the thick underbrush, they encountered a series of challenges. They crossed a narrow river teeming with piranhas, their sharp teeth glinting in the sunlight. They climbed over fallen logs, their footing precarious on the slick, wet surface. They encountered a group of venomous snakes, their bodies coiled and ready to strike. Each challenge tested the students' resolve, but they pressed on, their determination fueled by a mix of fear and curiosity. Despite the dangers, the students found moments of wonder. They observed rare species of birds with vibrant plumage, marveled at the beauty of bioluminescent fungi, and discovered a hidden waterfall cascading into a crystal-clear pool. These glimpses of beauty amidst the peril reminded them why they had come to Earth in the first place. After hours of trekking, the group finally emerged from the jungle into another clearing. Before them stood a small indigenous village, its thatched huts blending seamlessly into the natural environment. The villagers greeted the group warmly, offering food and shelter. The students sighed in relief, their bodies aching from the journey. They shared a meal with the villagers, their faces etched with a mix of exhaustion and exhilaration. Despite the dangers they had faced, they couldn't help but feel a sense of accomplishment. "We've survived another day on Earth," Vixla said, her voice filled with awe and relief. "And we've learned something important," Dr. Thompson added, her eyes twinkling with pride. "This planet may be dangerous, but it's also filled with incredible beauty and resilience." The students nodded in agreement, their fear turning into a newfound respect for the Deathworld they now called home. They settled down for the night, their hearts and minds racing with anticipation for the adventures yet to come. The following day, the group traveled to New York, expecting to study human culture in a metropolitan setting. The bustling city presented a stark contrast to the wild jungles and untamed landscapes they had encountered so far. The towering skyscrapers, dense crowds, and cacophony of urban life overwhelmed the students, who were both awed and intimidated by the sheer scale and energy of the metropolis. Dr. Thompson guided them through the city's iconic landmarks, from the vibrant Times Square to the serene Central Park, highlighting the rich diversity and history of human civilization. The students were fascinated by the multitude of cultures, cuisines, and people that filled the city. Vixla marveled at the bright lights and towering billboards, her bioluminescent skin glowing faintly in response. Zeph, the shapeshifter, enjoyed blending into the crowd, taking on the appearance of different humans to experience the variety of life in the city. Zorak, with his technological implants, eagerly explored the city's advanced infrastructure, connecting to the myriad of networks and systems that underpinned urban life. However, their exploration was abruptly interrupted by a sudden and violent conflict. A group of hostile alien invaders, the notorious space pirates known as the Zentarons, attacked the city, wreaking havoc with their advanced weaponry. The students found themselves caught in the midst of the chaos as explosions rocked the streets and civilians fled in panic. The Zentarons, fierce and ruthless, targeted key landmarks and infrastructure, their sleek black ships hovering ominously over the city. The invaders sought to capture rare alien specimens, and the students, with their unique abilities, quickly became prime targets. The pirates, armed with energy weapons and reinforced armor, began closing in on the group, their intentions clear. "We didn't sign up for this," Zeph exclaimed as they fought their way through the chaos, his voice filled with panic and disbelief. He quickly shapeshifted into a large, imposing figure, using his newfound strength to fend off the attackers. Vixla, her skin glowing brightly, used her luminescence to blind the pirates, creating an opening for them to escape. Zorak's implants allowed him to hack into the pirates' systems, turning their own weapons against them. Dr. Thompson, ever the leader, guided the group with precision and courage. She led them through the chaotic streets, using her knowledge of the city to navigate safely. "Welcome to Earth," she replied dryly, taking down a pirate with a swift punch. Her calm and determined demeanor inspired the students, who rallied around her as they fought back against the invaders. The battle raged on, with the group narrowly escaping capture multiple times. The city's police and military forces soon joined the fray, engaging the pirates in intense firefights. The students fought bravely, their unique abilities proving invaluable in the chaotic urban warfare. They used the city's infrastructure to their advantage, navigating through subway tunnels, scaling skyscrapers, and utilizing the diverse terrain to outmaneuver their attackers. As the battle continued, the group encountered a particularly formidable Zentaron captain, a towering figure clad in black armor. The captain, armed with a powerful energy blade, challenged the group, his voice booming with authority. The students, though terrified, faced the captain bravely. Zeph shapeshifted into a large beast, engaging the captain in close combat. Vixla used her luminescence to disorient the captain, while Zorak's implants hacked into the captain's armor, disabling his weapons. Together, the group managed to defeat the captain, their teamwork and determination proving stronger than the invaders' might. The city's forces, inspired by the students' bravery, rallied and pushed back the remaining pirates, ultimately forcing the Zentarons to retreat. The battle left the city scarred but victorious. The students, exhausted but triumphant, stood in the aftermath of the battle, their hearts racing with a mix of fear and exhilaration. They had faced a formidable enemy and emerged victorious, their bond strengthened by the shared experience. The city's inhabitants, grateful for their bravery, cheered and celebrated the students as heroes. "We didn't expect this," Vixla said, her voice filled with a mix of exhaustion and pride. "But we survived," Dr. Thompson replied, her eyes twinkling with pride. "Welcome to Earth." The students nodded, their fear turning into a newfound respect for the unpredictable and dangerous world they were exploring. They looked out over the city, now calm and serene after the storm of battle, and realized that they were part of something much larger than themselves. The students settled down for the night, their hearts and minds racing with anticipation for the adventures yet to come. The city, despite its dangers, had revealed to them the resilience and strength of the human spirit, and they knew they were in for an unforgettable journey. The adrenaline from their urban ordeal still pulsed through the students' veins as they prepared for their next destination, the Mojave Desert. The transition from the bustling chaos of New York City to the stark, arid expanse of the desert was jarring. As they approached the desert in their shuttle, the landscape below seemed barren and unwelcoming, a sharp contrast to the vibrant cityscape they had just left behind. Dr. Thompson briefed the group during the descent, her expression serious. "The desert is unforgiving," she warned, pointing to the holographic map displayed on the shuttle's console. "It's not just the heat. There are venomous creatures, sandstorms, and scarce water sources. Stay close and be prepared." The shuttle touched down on the desert floor, its landing kicking up a cloud of fine dust. The students exited cautiously, the scorching heat immediately bearing down on them. The landscape stretched endlessly in all directions, a seemingly infinite expanse of sand and rocky outcrops. Vixla, with her bioluminescent skin, was immediately uncomfortable. The intense sunlight reflected off her glowing body, creating a beacon for potential predators. She covered herself in desert dust, trying to dim her glow and blend into the environment. "This place is a nightmare," she muttered, her voice tinged with frustration. Zeph, the shapeshifter, struggled to maintain his form under the relentless heat. He shifted into various desert creatures, attempting to adapt, but each form seemed more uncomfortable than the last. "How do humans survive here?" he asked, his voice a mix of awe and disbelief. Zorak, with his technological implants, fared better initially, using his sensors to scout ahead and identify potential dangers. However, the desert's heat soon began to take its toll, causing his implants to overheat and malfunction. The group trudged forward, their energy sapped by the unforgiving sun. The desert presented numerous challenges. They encountered venomous scorpions hiding under rocks, ready to strike at the slightest disturbance. The group narrowly avoided a nest of rattlesnakes, their rattling warnings echoing ominously in the still air. The relentless sun beat down on them, and they found themselves rationing their water, the scarce resource becoming a constant concern. As the day wore on, the students encountered one of the desert's most dangerous phenomena, a sandstorm. The sky darkened as the storm approached, a massive wall of swirling sand and dust bearing down on them. Dr. Thompson shouted for the group to take cover, and they huddled together behind a rocky outcrop, their bodies pressed against the hot stone. The sandstorm enveloped them, the wind howling and the sand whipping at their exposed skin. The storm seemed to last an eternity, the sand seeping into every crevice and stinging their eyes and faces. The students held on, their bodies huddled together for protection, until the storm finally passed, leaving them covered in a fine layer of dust and sand. "We can't stay here," Dr. Thompson said, her voice firm but encouraging. "We need to find shelter." The group pushed on, their steps unsteady on the shifting sand. Just as their hope began to wane, they spotted a hidden oasis in the distance. The sight of the lush green surrounded by the harsh desert was a welcome relief, and they hurried toward it, their spirits lifting. However, the oasis was not the sanctuary they hoped for. As they approached, they encountered a pack of coyotes, their eyes gleaming with hunger and aggression. The coyotes, sensing easy prey, began circling the group, their growls echoing in the still air. The students, though exhausted, prepared to defend themselves. Vixla used her luminescent skin to blind the coyotes, her glow creating a dazzling light in the darkening desert. Zeph shape-shifted into a larger predator, growling and snapping at the coyotes to intimidate them. Zorak, with his malfunctioning implants, still managed to generate a high-pitched frequency that disoriented the animals, driving them away. The students secured the oasis, their bodies trembling with a mix of fear and adrenaline. They drank greedily from the clear water, their thirst finally quenched and settled down for the night, their hearts still racing from the unexpected encounter. As the night fell, the desert cooled, and the students gathered around a small fire, their bodies aching from the day's challenges. Despite the dangers they had faced, they couldn't help but feel a sense of accomplishment. They had survived the desert, and they knew they were growing stronger with each new trial. Dr. Thompson, her face illuminated by the firelight, smiled at the group. "You've done well today," she said, her voice filled with pride. "The desert is one of Earth's harshest environments, and you've shown great resilience." The students nodded, their fear turning into a newfound respect for the Deathworld they were exploring. They settled down for the night, their hearts and minds racing with anticipation for the adventures yet to come. The desert, despite its dangers, had revealed to them the resilience and strength of the human spirit, and they knew they were in for an unforgettable journey. The transition from the searing desert to the crisp, cool air of the Rocky Mountains was a welcome relief for the students. The shuttle ascended through the rugged terrain, the towering peaks casting long shadows as the sun dipped behind them. The students peered out of the viewing ports, their eyes wide with wonder at the majestic landscape below. The mountains, covered in dense forests and capped with snow, seemed both inviting and intimidating. Dr. Thompson briefed them as they approached their landing site. "The Rockies are beautiful, but they're also dangerous," she warned, her expression serious. "Avalanches, treacherous cliffs, and predatory wildlife are just some of the hazards we may face. Stay alert and stick together." The shuttle landed on a plateau surrounded by towering pine trees. The students disembarked, the crisp mountain air filling their lungs and rejuvenating their spirits. The landscape was breathtaking, with panoramic views of snow-capped peaks and lush green valleys. The students marveled at the scenery, their earlier hardships momentarily forgotten. The group set off on a trail that wound through the mountains, the path narrow and uneven. The thin air and cold temperatures challenged the students' stamina, and they struggled to adjust to the new environment. Vixla, with her luminescent skin, acted as a beacon during night hikes, guiding the group safely through the mountains. Zeph, the shapeshifter, used his abilities to adapt to the cold, transforming into animals with thick fur to keep warm. Zorak, with his technological implants, used his sensors to map safe paths through the rugged terrain. Despite their caution, the group soon encountered the first of the mountain's many hazards. As they crossed a narrow ridge, the ground beneath them began to shake, and a massive avalanche thundered down from the peaks above. The students clung to the rocky outcrop, their bodies trembling with fear as the snow roared past them, narrowly avoiding disaster. "That was too close," Zeph muttered, his voice tinged with fear. Dr. Thompson nodded, her expression grim. "We need to move quickly," she urged, her voice firm but encouraging. The group pressed on, their steps cautious as they navigated the dangerous terrain. As they ascended higher, the temperature dropped, and the group found themselves trudging through deep snow. The cold was relentless, sapping their strength and numbing their limbs. The students huddled together for warmth, their bodies shivering as they struggled through the snow-covered landscape. The mountains presented numerous challenges. The group encountered treacherous cliffs, their footing precarious as they clung to the rocky ledges. They encountered hidden crevices, their bodies barely visible against the snow-covered ground. They faced fierce mountain storms, the wind howling and the snow blinding them as they huddled together for protection. Despite the dangers, the students found moments of wonder. They encountered a herd of majestic elk, their antlers towering, and their calls echoing through the mountains. They discovered a hidden hot spring, its warm waters providing a welcome respite from the cold. They marveled at the beauty of the mountains, their hearts lifted by the stunning scenery. As they journeyed through the mountains, the group encountered a massive grizzly bear. The bear, drawn by the scent of their food, charged at them, its powerful body crashing through the snow. The students, terrified, prepared to flee. However, Dr. Thompson stood her ground, using her knowledge of wildlife behavior to calm the bear and lead the group to safety. "How do humans survive here?" Vixla asked, awestruck as they watched the bear retreat into the forest. "We adapt," Dr. Thompson replied with a smile, her eyes twinkling with pride. "It's what we do." The group pressed on, their spirits lifted by the encounter. They climbed higher into the mountains, their bodies weary but their hearts filled with determination. They encountered more challenges, narrow ledges, hidden crevices, and fierce storms, but they faced each one with courage and resilience. After hours of trekking, the group finally reached their destination, a small mountain cabin nestled in a secluded valley. The cabin, surrounded by towering trees and overlooking a pristine lake, provided a welcome sanctuary. The students collapsed onto the nearest chairs, their faces etched with a mix of exhaustion and exhilaration. "We made it," Zeph said, his voice filled with relief and pride. "We survived," Vixla added, her luminescent skin glowing with a soft, warm light. Dr. Thompson smiled, her expression one of pride and relief. "Welcome to our mountain retreat," she said, her voice tinged with a hint of exhaustion. The students settled down for the night, their bodies aching from the journey, but their hearts filled with a sense of accomplishment. They had survived the mountains, and they knew they were growing stronger with each new trial. As they sat around the cabin's warm hearth, they reflected on their journey and looked forward to the adventures yet to come. The mountains, despite their dangers, had revealed to them the beauty and resilience of the human spirit, and they knew they were in for an unforgettable journey. After the daunting heights of the Rocky Mountains, the students anticipated a change of pace as they traveled to the Pacific Ocean for their next adventure. They embarked on a sleek research vessel, the Sea Explorer, eager to explore the depths of Earth's vast oceans. The students, filled with anticipation, gathered on the deck as the vessel sailed out into the open sea, the gentle waves and cool breeze a welcome change from the rugged mountains. Dr. Thompson stood at the helm, her face alight with enthusiasm. "The ocean is one of Earth's greatest mysteries," she said, her voice filled with awe. "It's a world unto itself, full of incredible creatures and hidden dangers." The students watched as the coastline receded, replaced by the endless blue expanse of the ocean. The vessel was equipped with advanced technology, allowing the group to explore the ocean's depths. Vixla, Zeph, and Zorak eagerly donned their diving gear, preparing for an underwater expedition. As they descended into the ocean's depths, the students were captivated by the vibrant underwater world around them. Schools of colorful fish darted past, and coral reefs teemed with life. The students marveled at the beauty and diversity of the marine ecosystem, their earlier hardships forgotten in the face of such wonder. However, their underwater adventure quickly turned perilous. As they explored a coral reef, the group encountered a massive sea monster, a giant squid-like creature lurking in the shadows. The creature, its eyes gleaming with malice, attacked the group, its tentacles wrapping around them with surprising speed and strength. The students fought back fiercely, using their unique abilities to defend themselves. Zeph shapeshifted into a large shark, using his powerful jaws to bite at the creature's tentacles. Vixla used her luminescence to distract the monster, her glowing skin creating a dazzling light in the dark depths. Zorak, with his technological implants, generated a high-frequency pulse, disorienting the creature and forcing it to release its grip. Dr. Thompson, observing from the vessel, quickly intervened, deploying a specialized device to repel the creature. The device emitted a loud, pulsating sound that drove the monster away, leaving the students trembling but unharmed. "That was too close," Vixla muttered, her voice filled with fear and relief. "We need to be more careful," Dr. Thompson advised, her expression serious. "The ocean is beautiful, but it's also dangerous." The group returned to the surface, their hearts pounding with adrenaline. Despite the encounter, the students were determined to continue their exploration. They boarded the vessel, their spirits lifted by the clear sky and calm sea. As they sailed further into the ocean, the group encountered another danger: a powerful storm. The sky darkened, and the wind howled as the waves grew larger and more violent. The vessel rocked and pitched, the crew struggling to maintain control as the storm raged around them. The students, terrified, clung to the railing as the wind and rain lashed at them. Dr. Thompson, ever the leader, took charge of the situation, guiding the crew with calm and precision. She directed the students to safety, her voice firm and reassuring as the storm threatened to overwhelm them. The students followed her lead, their trust in her unwavering as they battled the elements. The storm seemed to last an eternity, the wind and rain battering the vessel as it fought through the rough seas. The students, exhausted and soaked, huddled together for warmth and comfort as the storm finally began to subside. The sky cleared, revealing a calm sea and a bright sun, the storm's fury replaced by a serene and peaceful ocean. The group, though battered and bruised, was filled with a sense of accomplishment. They had faced the ocean's dangers and emerged victorious, their bond strengthened by the shared experience. The vessel sailed on, its course steady and true as the students reflected on their journey. "We survived another day on Earth," Zeph said, his voice filled with awe and pride. "And we've learned something important," Vixla added, her luminescent skin glowing with a soft, warm light. "Earth is dangerous, but it's also incredibly beautiful." Dr. Thompson smiled, her expression one of pride and relief. "Welcome to the ocean," she said, her voice filled with affection and admiration. The students settled down for the night, their bodies aching from the day's challenges, but their hearts filled with a sense of accomplishment. They had survived the ocean, and they knew they were growing stronger with each new trial. As they sat around the vessel's deck, they reflected on their journey and looked forward to the adventures yet to come. The ocean, despite its dangers, had revealed to them the beauty and resilience of the human spirit, and they knew they were in for an unforgettable journey. After their perilous encounter with the depths of the Pacific Ocean, the students were eager for a change of scenery and a chance to catch their breath. Their next destination was the famed Black Forest in Germany, known for its dense woodlands and enchanting scenery. The students, intrigued by the idea of exploring a serene forest, anticipated a peaceful conclusion to their adventure on Earth. Dr. Thompson guided the group to a quaint lodge nestled at the edge of the forest. The lodge, with its rustic charm and cozy atmosphere, was a welcome respite after the group's harrowing experiences. The students settled into their rooms, their spirits lifting as they took in the peaceful surroundings. The forest stretched out before them, a tapestry of emerald green interspersed with vibrant wildflowers and the occasional beam of sunlight piercing through the canopy. After a hearty meal prepared by the lodge's owner, the group set out on a hike into the depths of the Black Forest, eager to explore its mysteries. The air was cool and fresh, and the forest was alive with the sounds of chirping birds and rustling leaves. The students marveled at the towering trees and the rich underbrush, their earlier fears forgotten in the face of such natural beauty. As they ventured deeper into the forest, They encountered a series of challenges. The trail, narrow and overgrown, was difficult to navigate, and the dense foliage often obscured their path. The students pressed on, their curiosity piqued by the forest's hidden secrets. The group soon encountered a small clearing where they discovered an ancient ruin, its stone walls covered in moss and ivy. The ruin, a remnant of a long-forgotten civilization, was both eerie and fascinating. The students explored the ruins, their imaginations running wild with thoughts of the people who once lived there. However, their exploration was abruptly interrupted by a series of loud bangs. The students froze, their hearts pounding with fear as they realized they were not alone. A group of hostile poachers emerged from the shadows, their faces twisted with malice as they aimed their weapons at the group. The poachers, seeing the students as valuable alien specimens, attacked without warning. The students, though terrified, fought back fiercely, using their unique abilities to defend themselves. Vixla's luminescent skin created a dazzling light, blinding the poachers and giving the group a chance to flee. Zeph shapeshifted into a large predator, using his fearsome form to intimidate the attackers. Zorak, with his technological implants, hacked the poachers' equipment, rendering their weapons useless. Dr. Thompson, with her characteristic calm, led the group to safety, using her knowledge of the forest to navigate through the dense underbrush. The group fled through the forest, their hearts racing with adrenaline as they outmaneuvered the poachers. After what felt like an eternity, the group stumbled upon a hidden waterfall, its crystal-clear waters cascading into a serene pool. The students, exhausted but victorious, collapsed by the water's edge, their bodies trembling with a mix of fear and exhilaration. They had faced a dangerous enemy and emerged triumphant, their bond strengthened by the shared experience. "We didn't expect this," Vixla said, her voice filled with a mix of exhaustion and pride. "But we survived," Dr. Thompson replied, her eyes twinkling with pride. "Welcome to Earth." The students nodded, their fear turning into a newfound respect for the unpredictable and dangerous world they were exploring. They returned to the lodge, their bodies weary but their hearts filled with a sense of accomplishment. The lodge's owner greeted them warmly, offering them hot food and a place to rest. As the students sat around the lodge's fireplace, their bodies aching but their spirits high, they reflected on their journey. They had faced numerous challenges and dangers, but they had also discovered the incredible beauty and resilience of Earth. They realized that while Earth was a death world, it was also a place of wonder and adventure. "We've learned a lot on this journey," Zeph said, his voice filled with awe and admiration. "Earth is dangerous, but it's also beautiful." "And we've discovered something important," Vixla added, her luminescent skin glowing softly in the firelight. "We're stronger than we thought." Dr. Thompson smiled, her expression one of pride and affection. "Welcome to Earth," she said, her voice filled with love for her home planet. The students nodded, their hearts filled with gratitude and respect for the death world they now called home. They settled down for the night, their bodies and minds at peace as they drifted off to sleep. The forest, despite its dangers, had revealed to them the beauty and resilience of the human spirit, and they knew they had experienced an unforgettable journey.